Hi, I'm Leslie Trejo, and today I will be discussing about different tips that we can use in a speech in order to enhance our speaking skills, different ways that I can incorporate them in my speech when I speak in my speech class, and different ways that other people can incorporate them in their own speeches when it comes to the time that they must public address. So starting off, the video discusses different tips and ways that we can address ourselves when it comes to speeches. So for example, the narrator talks about an interesting hook and also talks about how we can enhance different ways in our speeches. The first tip she gives us is to know our topic inside and out. If we know our topic and we have it in the back of our head, then it's very easy to talk about it. And when we discuss it, it comes naturally. It's not forced or anything. So that was the first tip. And for the second tip, we also talk about different ways that we can show our physicality when it comes to a speech. So for example, right now I'm trying very hard not to move around, and I'm trying to incorporate my hands more because I find that I don't do that often, and I usually fidget and play with my knuckles when I'm talking to somebody. So right now this is a tip that I'm trying to work out. The third tip is trying to incorporate your audience in your own speech. So when it comes to pandering, you're going to ask them for feedback. So if I had a group of people in front of me, I'd try to make some sort of joke, or I'd try to ask, how many people here have ever taken a poop on an airplane? Something that will make them laugh and will incorporate them and keep them on edge, so that when the time comes, they will actually, and when I finish my speech, they will actually retain some information because they were actually paying attention and were actually being entertained. Also, because speeches not always have to be so boring, they can also be fun and keep the audience alive. So for my second paragraph, I discuss different ways that I can incorporate this in my own speech. So for my Speech 101 class, I've had maybe just one in public speech, but I have impromptus now and then. So one way that I can incorporate my speaking skills is by working on my fidgeting. I have a very, very, very hard time trying to not fidget during my speeches. I also have a hard time with eye contact and maintaining eye contact with different people. I also have a hard time not using my hands that much. So when I pander to the audience, I want to keep their attention towards me and want to make sure they're looking at me and paying attention to what I'm saying. A second thing I can also do is speaking louder. I also have a very hard time speaking loud. I tend to stutter a lot, and that's usually because I haven't researched enough on my topic and I get nervous and feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing. So if I were to research more, it would make me feel more confident when I'm saying, and what I would be saying would come more naturally and more in a fluid-like way. And for my third paragraph, I would like to discuss different ways that somebody can incorporate different tips and just a little guide on what they can discuss. So for them, I would recommend speaking loudly and clearly. If somebody speaks loudly and clearly, then they don't have to worry about if the audience thinks that they know what they are talking about. Speaking loudly and clearly will also help the audience pay attention, because if you're mumbling and speaking in a little corner, then it'll be hard for the audience to retain any information that you discuss. I will also recommend them pandering to their audience as well. I think that's very effective when it comes to the audience paying attention. I think it's also interesting because it also keeps the audience on the edge of their seat and helps them want to be involved with the speech. If I'm saying something relatable, then the people in the audience will want to see something relatable back. And I think that's very interesting because when it comes to your speech, many people tend to get bored, especially a long time, like the speech right now, for example. And I'm trying very hard to keep your attention by doing different gestures and to make you look at me. So just to review, for my first paragraph, I discussed the tips that were discussed in the video. For my second paragraph, I discussed different ways that I incorporate that in my own speeches when it comes to class. And for my third paragraph, I discussed different ways that a person who is going to start or has already started dabbling in speech or is taking a speech class, for example, like myself, can incorporate these tips and guides in order to make their speeches stronger. I'm Leslie Trejo, and I hope you enjoyed the speech. I certainly did, and I hope you noticed the different tips that I incorporated in the speech. Thank you very much.